Good evening, guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm the Rambling Film Lover, and on this episode, I'm continuing with my little fantasy film casting rant that I'm on. So, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but in the 90s, MTV had a block of shows called Liquid Television. I forgot exactly what time it came on, but I think it was in the afternoon, and I remember watching them sometimes on Saturday, the few times I was able to get cable. And it was like weird animation and weird shows, and I can't quite remember all of them because I was really young, and I think I was like kind of blown away by some of the shows. Like, oh, I don't get it. I'm not sure. Fascinated, but not really sure yet. Because the humor, I think, was more for like maybe teens or college students and adults. But I do remember that it was on that block that I first saw Aeon Flux, or Eon Flux. I keep saying Aeon because their name starts with an A. But still, that is where I was introduced to that show. And I remember when I first saw the show, it was very bizarre. Number one, because the animation, Peter Chung's animation, is very weird. Like, their bodies are very gangly. And she's wearing like BDSM gear and whatnot. A lot of people are. They have these weird like straps on their bodies, and I swear, like, the other character, Trevor Goodchild, has on occasion worn what looks like a codpiece, etc., etc., etc. But I remember when I first thought I was a kid, I think I was like 10 or 11, and I was very disturbed by it because the episodes were really deep too. Because at first, Aeon Flux first started out as like small vignettes, maybe. No dialogue was spoken. It was just a quickie episode where her character always dies in the end. It was really cool too, though, because this takes place on an Earth-like planet, and I want to say in the future. It looked very futuristic. But when they started to introduce the half-hour episodes with like a full script and whatnot, I was glued to the TV because there's a lot of like double talk there, a couple of entendres, and then there's sort of political speak. It's a very articulate dialogue, but also the stories that they told, they're pretty powerful. There's one episode in particular that I remember most vividly from when I was a kid. Like, I have since I have this show and I watch it, like I have the episodes saved, but I remember when I was a kid, the most vivid memory I had was when I saw the episode Thanatophobia. Thanatophobia actually means fear of death, but this episode is the one that deals with the border. Specifically a couple trying to get from Brenya, the country of Brenya, to Monica, the country of Monica. Aeon Flux is a Monican agent. Trevor Goodchild is, I believe, the prime minister, the president, the leader of Brenya. Apparently in Monica, it's more free from what the couple, from what the guy in the couple is always describing. I don't know if it's because he's Monican or he once lived there, but he and his significant other have always been planning on escaping there, crossing the border, the wall. And like, the two cities are just, they're right next to each other. The only thing that separates them is this wall right there, but they can see each other. And in fact, they are neighbors with Aeon Flux. Like, they can see her. And I don't want to spoil it. I want you guys to be able to see it. Just know that there is something in that border wall that is meant to deter people from going through it, because there are doors in the wall. There is a door there near where they are that you can go through to get to Monica, but you technically can't because there is something there that prohibits you. And just, it does something to you. After many attempts and whatnot, it looks like they amped up just what happens to you if you try to go through the door. And just the whole episode was just something really heavy to really understand, but I could understand it as a kid. I believe this was Aeon Flux was broken into like 3 seasons, so this was this was like 1995ish. So I had been watching the show, and when this episode came out, I was really realizing what type of show this was. But I remember after I had seen that episode, I was a bit shaken up because of how powerful that ending was specifically. I think some of you may know, especially that last shot, or the last couple of shots, but the last shot is the one that like just clinched the whole thing for me, and I thought, oh my goodness, what did I watch? But I remember looking for the episodes later in college, because I think they went back and like re-recorded some lines, although I really wish they didn't, because some they changed to something that didn't have the same impact. But I have them saved on my computer, and I was watching them again as an adult, and I can really appreciate it now, just how great that show is. And I was disappointed when they did a live action film, because I already knew they were never going to be able to adapt that show. They were never ever going to be able to adapt what I had seen to the big screen. There was no way. It's a very avant-garde, it's a very cerebral type of show. And for those of you who have already seen it, please let me know what you think. Like, do you agree or disagree with me just how heavy it is? Like, it's not, I think it was 2 or 3 writers. I want to look up what they're doing now, because they have written some of the best dialogue in a show I have ever seen. It's just like a mind trip. And I knew Hollywood would not understand it, because I feel like this would have been better as maybe a live action adaptation show, especially right now. So there were rumors that it was going to be adapted, and I was like a little excited, because my initial reaction is always like, yay, yes, let's keep discussing this show, let's bring it to like a bigger audience. But they cast Charlize Theron because she's fresh off her Oscar win, which I kind of wanted to talk about that. I feel like a lot of casting decisions go down the drain because they pick someone who is having their year. It's the it year of this person, this actress, this actor, because either they won an Oscar or just because they're really hot right now. And I really wish they wouldn't do that. I really wish they would stop casting people just because it's their year. And I know people will be like, they have to. That's how you get people in the theater, in the seats. But it's just like, God, you're sacrificing, for me, the quality of the film or the quality of the show. But more often than not, I'm talking about like a film. I want to bring up another example, but I can't quite think of one. It was like someone's year, and then they cast him in this film, and I'm like, no, he's a great actor, yes, but he's not XYZ character. He's not. Like, stop. It's always irritating when they do that, because so much is sacrificed. You're forfeiting something really important so we can get this guy, so he can continue his fame, or 15 minutes of fame. But if they're good enough, it will be longer than 15 minutes. It will be a full career. So yeah, that's what always irks me about that. Like, let's get this hot person and just put him in there, because whatever. For this, it was Charlize Theron because she was fresh off her Oscar, and it's not that she couldn't play. I do think Charlize Theron is a very talented actress. I really do. But Aeon Flux is a very particular character. Almost unrealistic. Almost impossible to really cast, because I'm also expecting a really great team of writers to go in there, and even the look of the live action film was just not the same. Just felt so off. It felt very Hollywood when you mean it as an insult. It's like I don't know, I feel like they dumbed it down too much. They took parts of the show to kind of sprinkle around in the film to make it cool. Like, they got Scaphandra and they changed the name to Sithandra, and they kept the character with hands for feet, etc. But it was just like, she's important. They should have utilized her better. So they cast Charlize, but I thought, no, there's only one person I really, really thought would have been perfect for this film. But the catch is, she would probably have been best cast during the 90s because, yes, she's a little older now or whatnot, and I guess she wouldn't quite fit. But this actress that I had in mind, I thought was perfect. From the second I started thinking about who the heck could be her in real life, I am thinking of Linda Fiorentino. For those of you that don't know her, I think her best known role is in Men in Black. She is the forensic doctor. She is the one that works in the forensics department with the bodies. She's the one that the cat is left to her, and she finds the galaxy on the belt. That's her. She's also been in some other stuff. She was in the Scorsese film After Hours. She was in The Last Seduction. She was in Vision Quest. She's been in a lot of stuff. She's primarily known from like the 80s and 90s. But why I thought she was perfect is because her voice, number one, because nobody can mimic the voice actress Denise Poirier's tone. There's only, one Aeon Flux, and it's technically the voice actress Denise Poirier, but the closest equivalent to that in live action would be Linda Fiorentino. She has this very husky voice, a bit like, it's the same effect like Kathleen Turner, very, very low, haughty type of voice that I thought was perfect. Yes, it's sexy, but it's also, it gives me the same effect that Aeon Flux gives me, which is like, she doesn't take nonsense from you, but she'll do this little word play with you for fun, because it's just what she does. Even though she does mean business, it's that kind of, it's a flirtation. And I mean, look wise, Linda does have black hair, and she did wear it for the most part in like a bob, or like a long bob around her shoulders. Like, no one's really gonna have the body type of the characters from Aeon Flux, but you could still work around that. Maybe not exactly translate what they're wearing to cinema. They didn't do that with the film. Charlize was wearing like, all black. She had like a corseted thing, but no one was really wearing what the show was wearing. Although I did like some of the stuff from the animated show. There was some cool stuff that I wish they would have kept. But I feel like Linda could have really done it. I feel like she had that essence, I still think she would have been perfect. This is kind of like how everyone's always talking about Jonathan Brandis would have been perfect as Anakin Skywalker, which I totally agree, and I will do an episode on that. This is the same effect. But I guess everything was just stacked against that. This is 2000 whatnot. No one else could really look like her. No one else really talk like her. I guess Hollywood didn't want to go looking for someone new. They wanted another project to give to Charlize, and I think Charlize even produced it, but it ended up being like total garbage. And even the casting of Trevor Goodchild was just, I don't know what they were thinking. It's like they didn't even try. They got an actor who's a very good actor, but he just is not the essence of Trevor Goodchild. But I guess what I could correct myself with one point. The film, the live action film, doesn't even sound like the show. So like, for whatever the writers put for this film, maybe he was the best choice. Like, this isn't even Aeon Flux. None of it felt like it. The production, the writing, the music, none of it felt like it. So it's like, from top to bottom, it needed a total revamp. But let's say we did have the writers from the show there. Let's say we did have some great costumes. Let's say we had some cool effects. Let's say the locations were just perfect. And all we needed was good actors, ideal actors for this. Sorry, not good actors, like the perfect actor for this. I would have wanted a solid Trevor Goodchild as well. And for me, the closest actor who could play Trevor Goodchild would be Paul Bettany. I absolutely think so. He's very tall, he's gangly, just bleach his hair a little bit more and just let him go. I think he would have been perfect. I think I could probably find someone else, or maybe what's his name? Julian Sands. he was, the most recent thing I can remember him being in is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. He is in the flashback that Christopher Plummer's character is flashing back to. He is his younger version, and I think you guys may have seen him before in other stuff. He was in that film Boxing Helena, and God, I know he was in something else. There's probably like a bigger film out there he's been in. I think he could have been perfect for that too. But again, he falls into the same problem they would have with Linda. Linda's was more from the 90s. She would have been, what is it, like late 40s, early 50s. I guess they would have passed on it. But I feel like if they had done it in that time period, it would have been perfect. And I always think about that because a part of me really wishes they could kind of adapt Aeon Flux for either, I don't know, HBO or Netflix, and just like go ham on it and really, really delve into it and be as committed and as loyal to it as they can be. It would be something really special. It really is. I think you can get the DVDs of Aeon Flux right now. I don't know if they're on Blu-ray. I have the DVDs. I just haven't checked to see if they've come back with like better quality stuff. The last thing that happened was just the redub. But I do think it is a really great show. I really do. It's something very, very, very unique, very particular, but I do feel like if you watch it, you can appreciate it. At least, maybe not all the episodes, but I do think that there will be one that sticks with you for sure, that will make you think. And for that, I'm very happy that I got to see it. Back when MTV was something really different. It's not the same as it was now, but no channel is. But I'm very grateful for having been exposed to something like that, something so unique, because I feel like it did affect my taste in certain shows and certain films. Something about Aeon Flux always has me really appreciating certain dialogues, certain stories, certain characters, So I really recommend it for you guys. And for those of you who are aware of the show, if you're a 90s kid like I was, any other character you ever thought? Is there a character from that limited show that you liked? What do you think about Aeon Flux? Is there someone else? Did you think Charlize did her best? Did you think that there was no way you could ever adapt this? Let me know your thoughts about it. Or what was your favorite episode? I'd like to know that too, because they have a lot of good episodes. And yeah, thank you again for tuning in. And I'll see if I can get some other episodes coming out shortly. I hope you guys have a great holiday week. And hope you get some rest, relaxation, get to spend some quality time with either friends or family or just people who are important to you. Stay safe out there. Bye.